Hello, my beautiful friend. Happy Thursday. Welcome back. It is finally fall here in Northern California, and it's my favorite weather. It's raining outside. I'm cuddled up by the fire with my puppy. Andy's out of town. It's like a huge snuggle fest. So I am in my happy place working on all kinds of things this week for you. And I'm super excited to share because not only do I have the free audio training, 6 Steps to Get Anything You Want, you can also download the first chapter of my upcoming book, Women Who Want More, right on my website. The book comes out November 18th, but I'm really excited to share a preview with you. So head over to my website and get that. All right, on to the episode. Today, we're diving into a topic that's essential to understand if you want to create true abundance in your life. When I say true abundance, I mean not the appearance of abundance, not temporary abundance, but real, true, authentic abundance. We're talking about getting rid of competition and scarcity mindset. Now, this is especially important because most of the women I know and most of the women I work with are entrepreneurs, small business owners, or they're wanting to start some kind of side hustle. And I often hear the same complaints. The market is so saturated, or there's too much competition, or it's just so hard to get business. And friend, I'm just going to come out and say it. That mindset is bullshit. And if you are creating from that mindset, you're always going to be struggling. You're always going to be working really hard and frustrated and not feeling like an ease and flow. So today I'm going to share some wisdom from Wallace Wattles. I know you hear me talk about him a lot. He was a New Thought teacher back in the early 1900s, one of my favorite manifestation teachers, and he taught extensively about creating from the creative plane versus the competitive plane. And to understand what that means, I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed how some people and some businesses absolutely thrive, even in a very saturated market, while others struggle even when it seems like their niche is wide open? This is because success has nothing to do with how many people are doing what you're doing. It has nothing to do with competition. I know this might sound counterintuitive, but I'm going to kind of explain this. And I was actually reminded of this very clearly last week because I was in a city and I wanted to get some coffee. And where I was, there was actually a Starbucks on 3 of the 4 corners. And then on the 4th corner, there was actually a cute little cafe and coffee shop that was jam-packed. And I looked at that and I thought, Starbucks isn't worried about competition. This cafe is not worried about competition because it's not about competition. It's about creation. So if you have ever said something like that, the market's saturated or there's just too many people doing whatever it is that you want to do, I want you to erase that from your mindset right now. Wattles dropped this truth bomb over a century ago, and it's even more relevant today. He said there's a fundamental difference between competing for existing resources and creating new ones. Most people are playing the game of competition. They're fighting over what they think is a limited pie. But successful people are in the creation game. They're creating. They're not competing. So let me break this down for you so you can kind of feel it energetically. I want you to feel what it's like in your senses, in your bones. When you're operating from a competitive mindset, you're doing things like constantly comparing yourself to others. You're making decisions out of fear. You're trying to undercut prices. So you're looking at what your competition's doing and maybe trying to go just below what they're charging. You're copying what everyone else is doing. So instead of focusing on you, you're just looking out at what everyone else is doing and copying them. You feel like you have to fight for every client and you are burning yourself out. And I want you to think about how that feels inside your body. If you are doing this, you know it's exhausting. It's physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausting. But here's what happens when you shift into creation mode. Everything changes. And I want you to feel this one in your body. When you're in creation mode, you start to focus on your unique gifts. You're making decisions not from fear, but from inspiration. You're charging what you're worth. You're creating from your own unique approach, and you're attracting clients who value you. You become magnetic to those clients, and you feel energized and excited. So feel the difference between how that is in your body. And here's something crucial to understand. There is no shortage of anything in the universe. The supply is completely infinite because everything's energy. Now, I know that sounds woo-woo, and maybe it is, but it's true. Everything is energy. So when you think there's not enough clients, there's not enough money, there's not enough opportunity, you're operating from an illusion. You're operating from a scarcity mindset, a lack mindset, and it's a complete illusion. But I want to warn you that most people are actually creating from this mindset. They're creating from this lack mentality. So let me give you a personal example of this. When I started my coaching business, someone I also know who's a coach told me, I can't believe you're going to go into coaching. It's just such a hard market to be in. There's so many coaches. The market's saturated, yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm not stupid. I know there's a gazillion coaches out there, but there's not a gazillion people doing what I do. In fact, I don't know anyone else who serves clients the way that I do, who has a background in trauma work and energy work, someone who seamlessly blends woo-woo, neuroscience, and strategy. So instead of focusing on lack, I focused on when people come to me, they're not just getting another coach. They're getting someone who understands their deeper patterns, their trauma, and how it can show up and often block success and abundance. They're also getting someone who can read and see energy, to someone who can help them shift their frequency, and also give them science-backed tools that are broken down so simply that anyone can do it. So instead of coming from a scarcity mindset, instead of being competitive, I had to get very, very crystal clear on who I am and what I have to offer. And this is what I want you to do also. Because the truth is, there are successful businesses and struggling businesses everywhere, in every field. There are rich people in every industry. There are poor people in every industry. It has nothing to do with competition, market saturation, your location, all of that stuff. It has to do with your beliefs and your thoughts. So here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to notice when you're making decisions from a competitive mindset and ask yourself, how can I create instead of compete? I want you to focus on what makes you unique. Whatever field you're in, it doesn't matter what field you're in. You could be an Uber driver or you can be a rocket scientist. Oh, okay. Speaking about Uber, I have to tell you this amazing experience I had last year when I was in Vegas. Andy and I were there with some of our wedding friends for a convention, and we had just all had the most epic day together. End of the night, we ordered an Uber to get us back to the hotel, and this driver pulls up, and I don't even know how to describe what the experience was. It was otherworldly. He pulls up and his minivan has lights underneath. When he opened up the door, it was like walking into an alternate universe. There was disco lights. He had these screens everywhere with karaoke on the microphone and starts talking to us and encouraging us to karaoke. And for a second, we all kind of look at each other thinking, are we on some hidden TV show or some secret TV show? Because it was so unexpected. But anyway, he drives us back to the hotel. And I have to say, it was the most amazing 15-minute car ride I've ever had in my life. We all agreed. We all had so much fun. And when the ride was finished, we tipped him over $200. Over $200 for a 15-minute Uber drive. Now, I want you to think about what he was creating. There's a million Uber drivers out there, but he was doing something different. He was doing something that lit him up, something that got him excited. And because of that, he was making more money than any of the other Uber drivers around, because I'm certain that we're not the only people who tipped him $200 that night. This is a perfect example of someone who was creating from a creative plane versus competition. Okay, I totally digressed on that one because when I said that, it sparked that memory and it was such a great memory. It was such a great evening. Anyway, I want to share a powerful manifestation technique that's been really game changer for many of my clients. Instead of checking out your competition, instead of spending time Googling and worrying about what everyone else is doing, I want you to spend that time instead visualizing your ideal clients and visualize what it feels to have them find you. And I want you to feel Like the relief that they get when they finally realize that they've discovered exactly what they've been looking for in you, because that energy of service and of creation is magnetic. And this ties back into your money mindset, because again, when you're in that competitive mode, you're undercharging, you're overworking, you're burning out. But when you're in creation mode, when you're focused on your unique gifts, on what you're bringing to the table, you're naturally going to attract clients who are happy to invest in you and who are excited that they found a solution to their problem. So I'll share another experience that I had with this in our own business several years ago. So you might know that my husband, Andy, and I are wedding photographers. We run a very successful wedding photography business. But years and years ago, we were working from the competitive plane, and we were definitely in the burnout zone. We were working with clients who didn't align with our values. They were demanding. They didn't value our time. And honestly, it was so draining. We were constantly trying to compete on price, and it showed in the clients that we attracted. But then we decided to make a massive shift because we realized we couldn't sustain working the way that we were working. So we did a complete rebrand to really focus on our values. And instead of trying to compete with everyone else, we got really crystal clear on who we wanted to serve and what we wanted to create and what that would feel like. And guess what happened? Something magical happened, of course. Not only did we become busier than ever, but our clients became amazing. And this shift happened seemingly overnight. And the interesting thing that I've noticed is that almost all of our clients have these very, very incredibly specific commonalities. And I'm so fascinated by it. For instance, more than 95% of our couples have dogs. Both sets of their parents are married. And in the rare case we have someone who, like maybe a parent has a divorce, everyone gets along really, really well. And this happened because when we got really clear with that shift, when we did our rebrand, we got really clear on what our couples value. And it's right on our website. It says we work with couples who value quality over quantity and family over everything. And guess what? Seemingly overnight, those are the clients that came to us. And not only did they come to us, but they are so happy when they find us. We're happy to find each other. And this is not just about business. It's about energy. When you shift from how can I compete to instead asking the question of what can I create or how can I serve, then everything changes. Your vibe changes, your clients change, your whole life changes. All right, friend. So one other thing I want to address before I sign off for today is I want you to actually ask yourself this question. Do you believe there is a limited supply? This is a really important question to ask yourself, because if you do believe that, then it doesn't matter how many of these tools I'm giving you, that belief is going to keep you stuck in the competitive plane. And I want you to be really honest with yourself about that. Remember, a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking over and over until it kind of solidifies in your brain. And guess what? You can change those thoughts and you can change those beliefs. Now, there's no shame if you have that belief, but it's going to keep you in that tight competitive plane until you're willing to shake it up, until you're willing to explore it and kind of shake it loose and start thinking something else. If you need help with that, I am here to support you. Email me at hello@melaniemishler.com. We can set up a free consult and talk about how you can shake those beliefs loose so you can really step into the abundance that's waiting for you. All right, friend, I hope this wasn't too deep. Have a beautiful week and keep manifesting an epic fucking life.